Hi there, it's Sandra with Brew City Thrifts. Today I am back at the Waukesha Goodwill. I think it may not have been so long since I've been here before, but I have to stay on this side of town, so I am going to hop in and see what they've got on the shelves. Let's hit it. The first prize I find is this lovely pottery casserole dish. It's got a lid, it's got a floral design, it's very 1970s-ish. It does not have a signature on the bottom and it's very heavy. So it goes in my cart as soon as I put the camera down and can use both hands. This brass trivet was out of place in the kitchen area, but it caught my eye that way as well, so I picked it up. Like the design, and on the back you can see that it is labeled Williamsburg. So this is Williamsburg Restoration, and it is the Queen Anne pattern. It's a brass trivet, and it goes for around $15 on eBay, but in this particular case, while I liked it, I decided I did not need to take it with me, so it went back on the shelf for someone else. This is the silver plate and aluminum and metal area. And so I did a scan here of the shelves, and my eye was drawn to this coffee pot or coffee percolator because it looks so old. And the minute I pulled it out and saw that green glass on top, I got very excited. It looked to me like that was very possibly uranium glass. I turned it over, and it's by a company called Universal. It has patent dates, and the U.S. patent date, the most recent one, is 1924. The price tag from Goodwill is $12.99, so someone at Goodwill knew this was something special. It seems to have all the pieces except the cord. I also thought the handles were perhaps Bakelite, but other percolators of this kind don't seem to have Bakelite handles, so I'm not sure what they are. Like many thrifters, I happen to carry around a handy black light for just such a moment. And here you can see, oh baby, is that glowing? That is uranium glass. And what a find. That alone goes for $25 or more on eBay. So, woo! Happy day. The next thing I noticed is this three-dimensional ceramic rooster. Whoops, there's a chip there. It's a divided dish. It is Italian, as you can see when I turn it over. It looks to be vintage, but I'm not thrilled with the color scheme. I like the teal blue, but not necessarily with that kind of almost a brick red. So I put it in my cart to think about it for a while. Returning to the shelf, I noticed this handmade pottery mug. It's a nice green glaze with a relatively simple design. There's a Campbell's soup cup and snack plate set next to it. This is a Japanese kyusu teapot. I have a much larger one that is already in my eBay store for sale. This one has a nice design. It's much smaller. It is used for brewing green tea typically, and I know that the value can be high on these, but it is somewhat dependent on the maker. So I put it in my cart to think about that one and look it up later as well. Next, I pick up a couple pieces of white milk glass. I don't know a lot about milk glass, and I rarely pick it up. I think I might have picked up one piece before in my entire thrifting history, but I was noticing these because they felt substantial, and I think of Fenton when I think of big, thick, heavy milk glass. So I'm looking through some stacks of ceramic plates. That is a project piece that is glued together, gravy boat, and I do notice that tart pan. I like the design there. I just didn't feel like wrestling it out of that stack. And then I noticed this cheese board with a cloche. It is a nice big glass cloche. It looks to be a fairly contemporary cheese board and cloche, and I think about it, I look at it, but I move on. I notice this ceramic bowl here under this wooden drink holder. I believe that's what it is. And looking at the bottom, it is made by Carol Ceramics, and it looks to be a piece from the 1970s. It's a little lighter weight than it might look like. And while it's got a nice glaze, I decide I'm going to leave that on the shelf. Then I notice this. This, my friends, is a piece of Fenton milk glass, Fenton hobnail milk glass, and with that little remnant of a sticker there, it's definitely Fenton, and it is the first piece that I kind of fell in love with. I move on and check out some of the other pieces on these shelves. I look at these mixing bowls for a brief moment to see if they might be a recognizable brand, and I look at the wooden cheese board with a cloche one more time, but it's the Fenton that goes into my cart. Here on this shelf, I notice these bowls, and as I pull them out, I see that they are geisha ware. I am not a huge fan of geisha ware, but I wanted to pull these down and take a closer look at them. Oftentimes I feel like geisha ware, the quality, they were made inexpensively. It's white porcelain. They were made inexpensively, and you can tell, in my opinion, by the painting job that they are not super high quality, but they are vintage, and so I pull them down to take a good look at them. I thought this piece might be recycled glass, but I think it was just a textured glass. I noticed this serving piece. It might be for vegetables, and on the back you can see it was made in France, possibly Limoges. It has a transferware flower pattern and some gilding on the handles, so I popped it in my cart to think about that for a moment. Returning to the shelf, I noticed this boxed salt and pepper set featuring cute little dogs in sweaters. I think it was, I can't remember what the brand was, but I don't typically pick up salt and peppers, so I put it back on the shelf for a salt and pepper collector or a dog lover. This box, I checked it out briefly before noticing all these pieces, these matching pieces to the one I picked up. D&C France is the marking. I believe that is a Limoges brand. I'm typically not as interested in transferware. I like hand painted, vintage, and antique china patterns much more. So I was wanting to check out this hand enameled, looks like a hand painted, hand enameled dish. It is contemporary by Dutch Wax, and while I really do love the colors, I had to take a second look because I really do love the colors. I like the enameling, but I decided it was a nice piece, but I didn't feel like I really needed to have it. On the other hand, I apparently did feel like I needed to take this cute squirrel plate. It is a Better Homes and Gardens collector plate. It is a Majolica style glaze, and it was super cute, and so I popped it in my cart. Here's some Temptations pieces. They look like little mini lidded casseroles, and they have their own metal stands. And then I noticed this plate by Archipel. It's a French china maker, and it was not that compelling to me, but I do see a plate that I really want to pull out and get a better look at. So I have to figure out where to put things. So I have to stack things in my cart and move things around in order to get to it. And I finally pull it out. It's a nice piece. It is from England. It is called Fonville Ambassador Ware. And I liked it, and I decided, hey, let's take a quick look online and see what these go for. And they are actually not that valuable, so it did end up going back on the shelf eventually. And what is this on this shelf? But you got it. It is Limoges. This is Haviland and Company from France. Limoges creamer and sugar. They are matching. They are hand painted and gilded, and the style is early 20th century. I think they're antique. I think they are pre 19, maybe between 1900 and 1920, and I will take those any day. This box is a nicely designed crystal salt and pepper. I take a quick look, but I think I'm just feeling like I do like that. Looking back on it, I really do like their design, but at the time, I think I was not, I wasn't as into them, so they stayed right there on the shelf for someone else. Continuing to look for something that catches my eye. The color of this ceramic creamer did for a moment. The hand painting on this mushroom shaped little condiment bowl did for a moment. This is a Toby like ceramic piece that I picked up. And this salt box, this hand painted salt box, was, to me, it was quite 1970s. I thought it was a pretty well done, and it was signed, so it went in my cart for a heartbeat. And here's the second misplaced brass item that I found this day. These are bookends. They are marked Thomas Jefferson Cipher, and they are vintage, and they are only $4.99. So these are going in my cart. Yes. I saw these green plates and I pulled them out, and they are shaped like trees, which I think is really very nice. I like the design. These are hazel atlas, and they on eBay they are, there's a number of listings for about $20 for four, but no solds, so I decided to leave them behind. Yes, I do like a good crock. I always seem to be attracted to rather primitive, homey looking crocks. And this Boston baked beans crock just caught my eye. It was a little heavy to lift up, but it did go in my cart eventually. I took a quick look at this mousy cheese dish, and the mouse had a chip, so it was going to stay on the shelf. I'm not a huge fan of Boston baked beans, but I'm apparently a big fan of this crock that came with me today. Do you guys think this obsession I have with Anchor Hocking's Wexford pattern of glass will ever end? I just can't ever help picking it up. This is a candy dish. It is I love it. It is not particularly valuable, but I'm indulging my Wexford thing today. I put it in my cart. Take a look at this pink glass bottle. It is a lovely pink, but I leave it on the shelf. This pretty little demitasse cup. It's a Christmas design with holly berries, and it's by Inarco. It catches my eye. It's vintage. I do like the pattern very much. It's hand painted, so I decide that's going to come home with me. Above them on the shelf were these unusual, what I thought were demitasse coffee cups, but they turn out to be Turkish teacups. Some Turkish teacups can go for very big money. This set, I still am researching who the maker is, but I was really caught by the blue color, the silvering with some enamel on the design around the saucers, and I thought they were gorgeous, so those went in my cart as well. In the tchotchke aisle, I was noticing some very nice bird figurines. That is a quail with its little crown still intact. And here we have some owls. And then I noticed this kooky cat. This is Swak. Linda Cornell does a lot of lovely whimsical pieces for Swak. I have sold her pieces in the past, and this cat would have come home for me except for, unfortunately, the chipped ear. I really wanted to take it with me, but it did end up going back on the shelf. Time for a cart review. We've got the Turkish teacups. We've got the antique coffee percolator with uranium glass. We've got Fenton. We've got the Italian pottery that goes back on the shelf. Underneath it, we've got the Pottery Casserole that goes back on the shelf. And then this piece, which I forgot to show you, I picked up, ends up going back on the shelf anyway. I'm not even sure what it is. A candle holder, salt and pepper, some kind of holder, but it goes back on the shelf. We've got the bean pot. That comes home with me. We've got the Linda Swak cat. That goes back on the shelf. Oh, so sad about that one. Here is a little pottery bird that I almost picked up. It looks Scandinavian and I like it, but it goes back on the shelf right there. I set it aside. This little ceramic tchotchke by Bella Casa, cute. It's got a candy theme, goes back on the shelf. Oh, am I being selective today? Taking that Wexford though. Taking that Wexford. Love that Wexford. I don't know why. It just speaks to me. The Inarco Christmas demitasse cup. I'm taking that home with me. And this is a little piece of barware for my son. And of course, we've got the antique Limoges. That goes home with me. Under the bean pot are still a few more things. There are the bookends. Those are coming home with me. And I picked up a little desktop bell.
I picked the absolutely wrong day to have a not fully charged phone and to not be able to spend more time there. There was amazing stuff. I'm so excited about the percolator. Everything I found was super fun, but my phone is about to die. So Thrift on Siblings, please like my channel, comment, come back again. I appreciate all of you for joining me on these little trips, and we will do this again.